What's going on, YouTube? AlphonZeus up Team Gradelock here with a match that I'll put up hopefully before I put up the new vlog episode. This would be a match in Cardfight Vanguard between Alex, who's running the Brawlers of Narukami, yes, with the Legion support from the recently released Fighters Collection 2014 as the first wave of the Legion units, and Henry running the Link Joker Starvaders, in this case Omega Glendios. Now, seen in this new format right now, it's going to be an interesting one because we've all seen Legion in the show, and finally it hits here in the States. And as you can see from at least what Alex has in his deck right now, you see the classic Narukami units right now. Of course, there's only 2 Brawler units at the time of the Fighters Collection 2014 that was released, so it's going to be a while before we get the rest of set 16 in to help out the Brawlers. Now, going off of what we see right here, Henry just says, alright, looks like I just don't have to worry too much about Legion. If anything, it's only just 4 Legion units and their respective mates. Of course, the skill for the Brawlers is actually very good on Legion. We get to retire 2 units the opponent chooses. And of course, with the Legion mate, it gains +3 for each unit retired. So that means it's already a +6. Looking at his hand right now, he's like, oh, nope, no grade 3s, but we get to see at least deck shuffle and see the classic of Narukami kind of help out the Brawlers, to make at least a pretty good impact against the very feared Omega Glendios. Seeing what the build is right now, this is not the world's end build in what you've seen in the Iron Man match between John and Ian, but it is actually a beatdown build. The beatdown build has become very popular at Game On because, as much as we all like to do World's End and how crazy that strategy and deck composition may be, just going straight beatdown build, you get to control the entire match. And you don't even need to be at limit break for that, as you can simply just call a reverse unit and then lock something. Now, seeing what we go through right here, I think that the best way in order to get Glendios out of the way, at least against the beatdown version of it, is to just rush them to 4 or 5 damage. Because at most, Henry will only lock 1 unit. So it's not like he's going to be doing so much as a rush into lock build, because he doesn't have any other units that lock other units on top of that. So seeing what Alex is going into right now, he decides not to Legion just yet, because unfortunately for this Legion skill in particular, he has to not only get the 4 cards from his drop zone back into the deck, but his Legion skill is only activated once per Legion, so that means he would have to re-ride every single time in order to get that Legion skill out. Of course, you keep the 20k power, and even with the draw trigger behind it, you get to go up to 25. Now, seeing what's happening here, okay, Henry's going to lock the booster of the Vanguard, because at most he's going to be swinging for 20, so that he'll only have to drop a 10k shield for 1 to pass, and then do an instant shot for 5k shield to make it 2 to pass. And that's pretty much one of the glaring things we see about Legion right now, is that when they hit 20, you can simply drop 15k, and it is still 2 to pass. Of course, there are units like the Legion, with the mate being CEO Amaterasu hitting at least 21, if anything happens, especially in terms of drive checks. But the 20k can really be, not only avoided, but it can be played around a little bit. And that's why you're going to need a booster right behind the Vanguard, so you can hit 26 to make it even a 2 10k shields, makes it a 1 to pass for most Vanguards, outside of Crossrides, of course. Now, seeing the first Legion of the game, of course, he's getting hype when he just smacks the Vanguard like that. And I do apologize for the camera, it's been moving around a bit, because there are other people at our local right now. So, seeing what to do for the Legion mate, alright, we get to see him retire up to 2 units. Now, the thing is, the disadvantage for Alex is that Henry has to choose which units to retire. So, in that case, he'll have to just stick to, alright, I'm probably just going to retire the units that don't have reverse in it, so I can utilize that grade 1 to redirect attacks. Now, before performing the Legion skill, Alex will have to counterblast too, which makes this pretty good in a vanilla Narukami deck. Now, when Henry will go to retire 2 of his own units, he has a few different choices, and of course he'll end up getting with the reverse unit, because of course he probably either has another in his hand, or he can utilize Magnet Hollow in order to just keep it alive, so on Vanguard hit, it can search out for a reverse unit. Now, of course, even though he doesn't have a booster behind it, of course the trigger can help reach it at least 14k, and seeing Alex now, already he's going to go for the Magnet Hollow so that he doesn't have to worry about that later on. And seeing Henry only calling out another Magnet Hollow, you can tell that, I'm not sure what to do here, because this guy's not having much of a field, so he probably has a lot of hand in order to guard with. And going for 11 to 11, you can simply just go 10k shield 2 to pass. But I guess what Alex wants to do, he doesn't want any shenanigans to take place. Because 1 to pass on a Vanguard swing with Twin Drive is going to be pretty crazy. So, at least from the tribe check that we've seen there, we see, of course, the attack redirector and an Ashley reverse. So, we already know he's going to be locking something next turn, as well as keeping his Omega Glendios alive and well. And, of course, the locking will begin on Henry's turn. Seeing what Alex is going to do now, alright, you want me? I'll come get you. I'm going to just keep on going with the crits and powers. Oop, okay, he has a crit and a heal, a very timely one. And seeing only, I guess, 2 colony makers in damage zone, he doesn't really have much to deal with, and he has to end up, okay, I have to guard these 2 attacks, I cannot take any more. And since that Alex now has a field full, Henry can now utilize this to just lock and take control of the game once again, because now he's going to be realizing, okay, I have to keep myself alive, I have to put more damage on the Alex because he's just healed as well. Seeing Alex's 3 to Henry's 5. And seeing what's going to happen now, he now gets the grade 1 unit in order to salvage some reverse units back from the drop zone. So that means he's going to be locking even more units later on. Seeing the drive check, we get to see another reverse unit take the fray. And now he's going to be trying to put more damage on the Alex. But unfortunately, that heal trigger did not go off. Now, moving into Alex's turn, we get to see, alright, I guess I should probably Legion again, or maybe utilize something else. And of course, you're going to have to re-ride and re-Legion. That's the only downfall, but at least with the Legion mate on a rearguard column, that column we'd be swinging for quite a bit. So, going back into Legion once more, he gets to retire 2 units, which means it will be a +6 for the Legion mate. So that column alone, that's going to be 9 plus 6, 15, 8. That's going to be 23 to Vanguard, which is a magic number for the cross rides. Now choosing what to retire. Seeing that he has 2 reverse units in his hand at least, and at least 1 attack redirector, it seems that he'll have to retire the Magnet Hull and the grade 1 behind Ashley reverse. But let's just see what Henry's going to be doing right here. Analyzing the cards in his hand right now, he does have 2 reverse units, so I guess one of the good moves that he can make is to retire the Ashley reverse and the booster, that whole column instead, because he can simply just call other reverse units to lock, or utilizing, I guess, the intercept rather than just a dead grade 3 sitting on the side. Of course, that column alone was hitting for 22, but with the cards in his hand, at least the ones that we know of, both reverses will definitely help out in terms of just, I'm going to keep locking, you can just, I'll just get rid of my reverse units because I can just salvage them yet again. Moving into trying to get Henry that 6 damage, okay, I have to block a lot. Perfect guard in the Vanguard and the 15k shield for Lise. Moving back in, alright, you have to relock, but this time I'm going to be locking the grade 2 rather than the grade 3 because of course that minus is out in intercept. So now this is Henry's last hurrah as Omega Glendios would go in for what seems to be like a final Vanguard hit. Looking at the 2 cards Henry has in his hand, it was very unfortunate though that he had to draw his heal trigger rather than have it go off at the beginning of his turn. And the Toon Drive that you see right there, we see a reverse Ramon and a reverse Cradle. There's really not much that he can do in response to that. So Alex definitely perfect guard the Vanguard tech and will drop that shield to make sure he doesn't take that 6 damage. And it seems like it's going to be a simple strategy from here on out. He just has to do a Vanguard hit and then attack with the rear guard just in case if he gets a heal trigger. But Henry, he only has a 10k shield and 3 grade 3s. That critical trigger didn't really help out him at much, and we get to see Legion take the first game and first blood in this match. So as we move on into game 2, seeing what the power of Legion can do, I guess also since Alex would have in the Brawler deck that I think that Phoenix where you Soul Blast 2 to draw 1 kind of helps put the Legion made back to the deck by Legioning with another pair. So with Henry going into this match now, I was thinking, alright, I better have the reverse units in hand so I can start controlling the field once Omega hits. Because any -1 attack that I can get out of Omega, that will be a lifesaver later on. And with a lot of the cards that can recycle reverse units as well as unflip damage, it's pretty broke to see what Glendios can do and how long this beatdown can last, because it will last until you hit 6 damage or so. Now, seeing what that picture over there of Burns, this was filmed at the Fort Worth Bushiroad World Championship qualifiers in Cardfight Vanguard, where Burns actually made it into top 8 and got 3rd place at the event. Now, seeing what Henry's going to be doing, of course, you want to ride Magnet Hollow so you can at least get that search for reverse unit, but Alex wisely puts down that 10k shield drop, so it will be guaranteed that he will not get hit at that moment. And of course, you don't really have to worry about that because he should have the grade 3 in hand, either here or off of the drive check. I know that much. And even though that, yeah, you're going to lose out on that counterblast to search for the top 5 for a grade 3, at least you still have that booster for that 1 extra turn. And the thing is, I'm not sure if at that rate you would use the grade 3 searcher, if anything, just to fetch out another Legion so you can re-Legion after the one that you have in your hand already. Now, of course, utilizing that Worldwide Dragon, it's always good, because dumping those reverse units, those units are always going to be coming back to you through those grade 1s. And having the attack redirector, it already brings up a lot of pressure on Alex, saying, alright, I'm going to be taking some hits, and I'm probably going to be wasting some Vanguard attacks when they're going to be redirected to other cards. So, seeing what he's going to have, alright, we're going to go Glendios, we're going to start the lock. No grade 3 searcher for you. Not yet. And it seems like it's not going to be like that until later in the game, where he can secure a very good lead in terms of just controlling Alex's field. Because the thing is, though, Link Joker is unique in which that you get to lock units, and when you lock units, you really, minus an interceptor, you minus an attack, you pretty much make the booster behind that locked card worthless. So, seeing this field now in Game 2, it looks a lot more developed and a lot scarier in the terms of, wow, this is actually really freaking scary. Because now he has 3 full-on attacks, because even though that he didn't deal damage to him later on, now Henry's just going to keep on wailing on him to catch up. Of course, seeing that drive check, get to see criticals and powers. So, of course, he had a little hesitation there in terms of the critical trigger, because, Legion is not affected by limit break, so that's why he kind of hesitated, saying, "Oh, should I give him that extra damage, or should I just, just put it all on the rear guard?" And thankfully, he did put it all on the Vanguard, because now he gets to match up in terms of damage. And Alex better wake up a little bit, because now he only has 5 cards in hand compared to Henry's, I think 5 or 6. Even if they're the same, you already have a handicap, because now you're up against Glendios. Now you're in the mid game. We get to see some craziness going on. And with Alex, he has to perform Legion at this rate, because, alright, I have to start retiring people and, getting my control back. So he's going to use the Counterblast 2 in order to activate the Legion skill. I remember that in the tournament that this premiered, Alex was using the Brawler deck. He ended up going, I think, breaking even 2-2. He lost in the final round, but he was able to have a lot of fun with it, because he was the only person using the Legion deck at that time. So what Henry's going to be doing, alright, I'm just going to retire a column. I'm going to keep my reverse unit up so I don't have to worry too much. And, oh, wait, Alex made a misplay. He forgot to call out somebody. So now he's going to be attacking with his Vanguard for the 20k Legion, and he's going to redirect the attack to Ashley Reverse. And, of course, he gets the heal trigger, though, so that's the unfortunate part, too. And he gets a heal and a draw. Seeing what he has now is going to be a hell of a lot easier to guard, because now Lebeck at 21 to that, I think 14, 19. That won't even hit. So with the grade 3 searcher now unlocked, he's now going to get rid of that column to make that column completely useless in terms of that. And of course, by the ruling, you don't have to worry too much about returning back to the field. Oh, okay, he does get some draw triggers and a crit trigger on the damage check. Seeing that go in for 27k to Vanguard. That's still a 15k drop in order to get rid of that. And, oh man, that +4 for Omega to give +4 to all reverse units, that makes it a very even crazier deck, because now it's so easy to make those hard-hitting magic columns without doing much. You just have to call reverse units, have a 7k booster, and you got 22k already. So let's see what he gets. And the grade 3 searcher. He actually manages to get to next Legion. So now Henry has to deal with another 2 retired units. But I guess in this case he doesn't have to worry too much, because he should have the salvager for those reverse units in hand right now. And the thing is, looking at Alex's field currently, he only has his Vanguard Legion attack. He really doesn't have any others, unless he can try and get another column going. But of course, you'll be sacrificing one card in your hand just to try and get another attack in that may be locked. Again, 10k booster is going to be swinging for 30, but the only unfortunate part is he did perfect guard it. So now Henry gets to really relish into getting the get the Omega lockdown beatdown thing going. Calling out Lukia reverse, you get to see, alright, I'm going to be locking this reverse unit, and with Lukia swinging in for 15 already, that's a 5k drop, but still, 15k is pretty good. So of course, you got to block that 5k with a draw trigger, and seeing that, okay. We get to see not a lot of triggers, but we do get to see that Salvager and Redirector come into play here. And seeing that going for 22, now it's like, alright, do I want to take a 5th damage or do I want to block it? And thankfully he does block it because he did get the heal trigger on his 4th damage check. Now looking into what he can do now, it seems that it must be a nice time to perform Legion again. Oh man, this must be like the 3rd time this game that he performed Legion. Of course, you always want to check for those 4 cards in your drop zone because you just recycle them all together. And now he's going to call out Lise, finally filling up a field that, okay, it may be -1 attack, but still, having Lise go in, oh man, he's going to be swinging for with 6k, so it's 15 and 6. That's going to be 21 to Omega's 11. So that will be a 15k drop in order to guard that rear guard attack. And seeing what is going to happen now, boom, we get a Legion, and of course, as the Legion skill, you get the Counter Blast 2, and he has to retire 2 of his own units. And now I was thinking, alright, I have the Attack Redirector, and I should have the Salvager, so I shouldn't lose out on just losing 1 reverse unit, because I can easily get that back. Oh man, I remember when we were filming it this day, this was probably one of the most hype matches that we've seen because, wow, this is the first actual good Legion deck. No offense to Gold Paladins, but this is the first good Legion deck that we see. And in a surprising move, we get to see Henry actually choose both reverse units as to, you know, getting rid of by the Legion skill. Now, of course, Lise boosts up to 21 because of that attack, but still, I guess he wants to utilize Omega Glendios and saying, hey, I'm just going to relock again with the reverse units I currently have. Seems like he drew off another trigger or a heal trigger off of that. So he calls Dauntless Burst, gets to lock the Lise this time so he doesn't get that burst in case Alex has another Legion unit in there. So now we get to see Omega Glendios come at Lise and the Brawler Grade 3 yet again. So it's going to be, alright. Now I'm going to be swinging in with a 22k rearguard attack, and if anything, it's going to be really awkward. So he gets a critical trigger, and he gets another reverse unit. So that's going to be 27k to Vanguard with the critical, and he does perfect guard it. Checking his damage zone to make sure. Alright, I want to see how many reverse units I have left on the deck, and I want to see what offense that he's actually going to present himself with. And luckily for him, Alex really doesn't have much to do with it, because it seems that he went through a lot of his legions already, but he says, you know what, we're going to legion a 4th time. Why not? Because I have to really... It just seems he's going to keep recycling his triggers. It's going to be crazy. And he recycles a perfect guard on top of that so he can keep reusing it yet again. We start to see Legion number 4. And of course, you want to do that Counter Blast 2. However, Alex was unable to get any unflipping damage into it, so unfortunately, we won't get to see 2 retires. In terms of seeing what he can do now, I guess he just wants to recycle triggers back in the deck. Even though that there are some units that can perform Legion-only skills, just getting the 20k or at least recycling triggers, that puts a lot of pressure on the Henry because thinking, alright, now he has a better chance to heal or crit, etc. And in the surprising move, we get to see Alex keep, and I mean keep, the Vanguard attack just that 1. He won't even bring up his 5k booster just in case if he gets a trigger, because of course, if anything, he's probably only going to hit a Magnet Hollow. And seeing, oh wow, and seeing Henry get a attack Redirector, and you know, pretty much mitigating a double crit that happened, it pretty much would seal the game for Alex. And seeing Reverse Cradle, we get to see him. Oh, you're gonna lock the Lise again. This is gonna be swinging for a lot, and with only 4 cards in hand, he has to rely on Henry not getting the critical trigger. And seeing him use those magic fingers right there, he now has to do some math as to how much he wants to guard for it. Oh, so he does get to draw a trigger, and then second check, no trigger. Gonna be 14 to his 11. And of course, you really don't want to get the you really don't want to get hit by the Magnet Hollow, because you can search out for more reverse units as of that attack if it did hit. So we get to see the damage on Flipper, and now I get to see a final, what it seems like to be a 30k Vanguard swing. And of course, he's gonna use a perfect guard. Seems like he went through all 4 of his perfect guards right now. And of course, you got second draw trigger. Seeing that, okay, I have to unflip, but things are, he's at 5 damage. Henry will have no problem in guarding all of that. Now, as Henry begins his turn, it seems that all hope is lost, because with the reverse unit that he drove check last turn, with Valiant Sword reverse, conveniently and in ironic fashion, locks Lise, another fellow Narukami unit. And analyzing what Alex has in his hand right now, with a grade 3, a 10k shield, and 2 5k shields, he can barely block all 3 attacks. And if anything, he has to bank on a heal trigger. Now, this whole process that Alex is going through right now, he's just saying, alright, if I guard, if I guard, if I guard. Because now he has to realize, alright, I have to utilize whatever luck I have. Because even if I do guard this attack in particular, I probably will not have enough to guard all the attacks. Because the thing is, though, that 22k does break the mold. Because if he does intercept with the grade 2, that's 1 attack down, he can drop a 10k shield for a 1 to pass, and he has to drop 2 5k shields. But he decides, okay, he has 22k, I need a 15k drop, not a 10k drop. So now, alright, after all the calculations in my head, even if I do guard every single attack, I don't have enough cards to guard with, so he has to bank on the heal trigger. And in fact, he does! We get to see that 6 damage heal go off, all because Alex has recycled. Well, at least maybe not solely because of that, but it did play a pretty interesting factor in that, hey, I'm going to get the 6 damage heal because I recycled back at least 2 of my heal triggers. So seeing Omega Glendios go in at a 16k Vanguard this time, he has to realize, alright, what can I do in order to guard these next 2 attacks and hopefully not lose? Because nothing's worse when you get a 6 damage heal trigger and you still lose. But now he has to realize, alright, this is going to look like a 2 to pass. So you got to put all effects on the rear guard. And you get to see, we get to see a critical trigger and a draw trigger on here. So that's not only a 25, but a 32k Vanguard swing. So that means Alex will probably have to drop not only the 5k shields that he has for making 26, but it has to be a 31. The unfortunate part is that second trigger did the trick, as Alex did not have that extra 5k shield. So now as we go into game 3, this is where all the hype comes in. This is where, alright, now that each player now has a win, they have to work as hard as they can in order to figure out, alright, this is going to be my last shot. Because is Legion going to get first blood on possibly one of the craziest control decks that we've had for the past few months now? Or Omega Glendios finally retain its hold, saying that, hey, this first wave of Legion, I can still take it. And, of course, the next week's Legions of the Shadow Paladins, Genesis, Gold Paladins, Royal Paladins, it may seem a little bit threatening, but not to me. And Andre unfortunately has to go onto riding the grade 0 with a grade 1 perfect guard. And Alex also ends up having to ride a not optimal grade 1 in the form of the Bird Soul Blast 2 draw card. Fortunately, he does get to see a crit trigger on that swing, and fortunately, we get to see a heal trigger than a crit trigger instead of the other way around, which would have worked in Henry's favor quite well. And looking at what World Line Dragon can do, this is definitely an upgraded version of what Tsukiyomi is, except that instead of just looking at the top 5 for the next grade, you just discard a reverse unit and look for any of the grade 1, 2, or 3 Link Joker units, which makes it even crazier. Now looking at this grade 2 rush right here, there's going to be at least one Magnet Hollow that will be getting the effect off. And of course, utilizing that immediately, you want to search for the nearest reverse unit that you can get. Because by God, once you get Omega Glendios on the field, we're going to see some locks. And Alex will be probably in a big heap of trouble going into the rest of the momentum in this game. Now seeing, oh god, and seeing the heal trigger off of the drive check, this is going to be even crazier now because, okay, I just healed the damage off of that counter blast. And even though he does get the draw trigger off of that damage check, Henry does get to search for a second reverse unit. So that means he's already guaranteed 2 locks for 2 turns straight if Glendios will be on that field. And Alex is now pretty much in a very bad situation as he now has to ride into grade 2. And now he has to decide, alright, do I want to call out more to attack him, or do I just want to just keep with the Vanguard attack and let him lock my Vanguard booster? So, I guess analyzing what he has in his hand right now, okay, I might as well just use the skill before I get locked out with Omega Glendios. And wisely, he would choose the draw trigger over the grade 2 death side, because of course if you do heal, you get to heal that draw trigger off, and then you get to set up for the Legion where you can recycle that trigger right back into the deck. And fortunately we get to see Alex get the grade 3 Brawler right off the top 5 cards of the deck, so now we get to see a guaranteed Legion, and he's probably, I think, 2 or 3 cards away from getting into the Legion skill and utilizing that second counter blast to say, hey, you gotta retire 2 units now. But I'm sure Henry doesn't have to mind too much because he can simply recycle the reverse units, or just say, hey, I don't need you anymore, Magnet Hall. I'm pretty good with where I'm at right now. And see what he got? Alright. That is a 17k to the Magnet Hollow. And even though Henry does get a draw off of that, he does get the unflip. And that unflip is probably going to be quite vital in terms of utilizing the Legion skill at least twice this game. And utilizing World Line, once again, we get to see Omega Glendios hit the field off of World Line Dragon, because World's End, World Line, I can definitely see where this is going. So, seeing him ride onto Omega Glendios, you get to see the main boss monster make his appearance. And it seems that it's kind of wise for him to just say, hey, I'm not going to start locking just yet. I'm going to wait for him to form up a field, and then I'm going to start locking. So, of course, you always want to use your reverse units in the best way possible. And seeing a double trigger off of that, that's 19k to a 9k Vanguard. So that means Alex has to drop 15k shield in order to not let that attack pass. Because if not, he's going to be put at 4 damage. And you won't want to be put at 4 damage just when you're riding into grade 3 when you get your first twin drive. So seeing what he's going to do now, alright. Well, I should have those 4 cards in Legion. And calling out the cards you see right there. We see Lise on the left and Ignition Dragon, I think, on the right. I think in this build he would like to put in Ignition Dragon as a break ride, so that means on top of break ride and Legion, not only do you have a 30 plus K swinging Vanguard on just the Vanguard alone, but you also get to retire 4 units at pretty much 1 turn. So that's pretty insane, because then you get to add a plus 12 onto Lise, making him a 21k column by himself. If you want to put up another unit, then okay, he'll hit 28 or 29. So now that we get to see the Magnet Hollows being retired off of the Legion skill, we have a 28k swinging Vanguard at Omega Glendios, but Henry will put down a perfect guard, just making sure that he can keep his damage as low as possible. And seeing the dry checks, or dry checks if I may say, no crit triggers, but of course now he's thinking of attacking formation. So he has Lise attack Glendios for that 3rd damage, and now Alex has to realize, okay, if I put him at 4 damage, it is limit break, so he will get the Omega Lock, meaning that for the next 2 turns, if he does survive, Omega will have 2 consistently locked units for limit break. Now, looking into seeing what Henry would do off of just calling, I think that's Maelstrom reverse, he gets to lock the grade 3. So it seems that he wouldn't care too much about Lise, but he would say, alright, let's just start setting up the field and try and see if we can get some more power in there. Because the thing is, Omega Glendios is stuck at 11, and that grade 3 can hit 11 for 11. Lise would have to retire another unit in order for him to hit 12, which means that, you know, he'll probably have to end up hitting an Interceptor. So it seems that, oh wow, and that heal trigger off of the Twin Drive, it does a lot of damage for him, because this says, alright, now I get to take more damage and I can use that for Omega locking, etc. And seeing Alex try and get at least a drive check off of the 4th damage, okay, I think I can relax a little bit more now, but I don't have another grade 3-2 Legion in with. So he's still up to hate swinging 28k to the Vanguard. So now it's like, alright, sure, I'll no guard this, it's no problem. You see a heal trigger. Oh boy. And this game in particular has seen quite a number of heal triggers, sometimes in the sackiest form being that 6 damage heal. So then as we get to see that critical trigger being damage checked, it does mean that, alright, I'm probably going to have to attack something else. And even though he's attacking a reverse unit, so that's I guess one less reverse that he has to deal with, he still made room for Henry to put another reverse unit on. And this time he's going to be locking the same grade 3. Seems that rear guard column with Lise and that unit. He now feels a little bit more confident now of blocking that, since he's going to assume that he doesn't have that grade 3 brawler since he didn't ride it on Alex's last turn. So he was thinking about Omega locking that unit, but it's like, alright, maybe I shouldn't. I'll probably just focus a lot more on locking instead. And so Omega's going to be swinging in for 11, so we're going to see, alright, I'm going to no guard this attack. See what's going to happen. Oh, we see the critical trigger, and we get to see a heal trigger as well, putting the grade 3 brawler at 21k. So still, Lucio is going to be swinging at the Vanguard, so I was like, alright, sure, I'll block for 10. It's no problem to me. So seeing the next move for Alex, thinking, alright, I have to try and get that grade 3 in effect, so I'm going to Soul Blast 2, I'm going to draw a card. We're going to make sure that the cards that are being Soul Blasted are the cards that he wants to recycle back in the deck. And that's why the use of the 5k Soul Blast 2 to draw a card can be really vital in terms of trying to get that one particular card you need in your hand. And off of the Twin Drive, he does get the grade 3 Brawler. So now that kind of sets up Henry to say, alright, I better start locking Lise now, because he's got a Legion again, and that rearguard column is going to look pretty nasty. Now looking into the turn for Henry, he already gets a hint. Alright, he's going to Legion again, so I might as well call Rami out and lock Lise this time. And really let's make sure that, okay, I only have to block a maximum of a perfect guard and a 10k shield, because that grade 3 is probably not going to give me much problems at all. And I guess what Alex's response would be, he should probably call another Lise, and even though he might only hit 20k with the Legion skill for the right rearguard column, it's going to be just another 10k drop in terms of shield value. Now, what happened before the Glendios attack, we get to see Henry call out that 7k behind Ramia to fetch the 2 reverse units back from the drop zone to make sure that his locking strategy will keep moving forward. And seeing the random cameos from Sacrison and Pikachu, Pikachu being, of course, Pikachu, and Sacrison being the luck charm that Alex likes to have, we get to see, alright, maybe I should block it and make it a 2 to pass and make sure that, alright, so I gotta sack me, but the thing is though, he does have 22k columns on both sides, so he should have no problem with that. And of course, being the smart person, he's now going to be swinging for 27k against his Vanguard. But unfortunately for Alex, he does have a perfect guard to negate that damage. And now we get to see a lone Vanguard with one unit being locked, but still. So it's going to be thinking, alright, now I have to re-Legion again and get rid of 2 units. But now I've realized, alright, I have to call it a rearguard column now, because probably one of the major errors that he had in game 1, he did not have another unit out on the field, another column that could have attacked, because he did get a double crit and could have managed to hit for at least a 26k value, and Henry would have dropped even more shield on top of that, if not a perfect guard. So moving back into the match itself, we actually had a little bit of a hiccup in terms of recording and the capacity. So going back into the Legion, we get to see Alex, alright, I have 4 healthy counterblasts. I am so down for getting another Legion back into the deck and retiring 2 of Henry's cards. And yeah, pretty much what Henry's trying to do in terms of good luck. He's trying to do, I guess, the Corin trick by sliding his, I guess, hand across the arm. Yeah, sometimes in the matches we can get pretty wacky, because a lot of us, we do play test a whole lot during the week. We go to a lot of tournaments. I know Henry, he goes to tournaments almost every single day at different locals. And I know Alex, Jason, and a few of the other members, they like to utilize Cardfight area online in order to you know, further their skills and learn how to play against some of the decks in the future, especially with the other Legion decks set to come out within the next couple months. So going into attacks. Okay, now I have to realize that I'm gonna lose out on 2 units. Do I want to keep the reverse units there, or should I just keep them up? Well, you're gonna need some spots to call reverse so you can keep locking and utilizing reverse units to Omega lock. So I'm just gonna get rid of a column and I'll be okay. I still have a 22k column, so it's definitely no problem. Seeing the Legion effect, we get to see a perfect guard, but Alex does get a draw and a crit this time. So swinging for 26k the Vanguard with a critical, but we get to see that attack redirector right there, just to save Glendios in time. So going into Henry's move now, we get to see the Omega lock, of course, but now I'm going to say, we're going to lock these two. I'm not going to deal with this anymore. I only have to worry about Vanguard attacks. I'm even going to call a crit trigger behind the Vanguard because I want to start hitting a little bit more in terms of numbers right now. So seeing Alex's 5 cards in hand, it seems that he does have all zeros. So it's going to be, it's going to be a 2 to pass. So we're going to see, we're going to draw. And we're going to see a 27k Vanguard, 27k hit on the Vanguard. So timely draw trigger that Alex gets, of course, off of the Legion. So now I just think, I can only attack with the Vanguard now, and he does have the attack redirector, so should I just go in and retire, or should I just go in for another attack? So he's going to go in for another attack, and then he's going to think, do I want to perfect guard this, do I want to overguard this, or do I want to redirect the attack? Because the thing is, though, those grade 1s, they can be very, very useful, especially in the late game. And seeing the crit and draw triggers that Alex got, just like, I should be alright, but this is going to be an uphill battle for me. So Henry, immediately I gotta try and go in for the kill right now. I have to go in because now he's building up too much of a hand off of the draw triggers that he has. So 50k on the Vanguard, of course 5k block, and then we can see Omega going for 16. So now he's thinking, I probably should overguard this, but I'll make it a 2 to pass instead, just in case of shenanigans. And we get to see that attack redirected come into play yet again. So we get to see a little bit more discouragement in terms of, now I have to know that at least one attack will be redirected, and he's probably going to have another perfect guard in his hand as well. So looking again, 28k, no, it's going to redirect and hit Dauntless Drive Dragon. And seeing the dry checks probably when he needed it most, it's only going to be a 16k Vanguard. And Henry, he would definitely want to keep his damage at 4 because that cushion damage up to 5 is so useful in the late game, especially when you don't have to worry about crits as much. And then he's going to be worrying about, I'm on reverse, I'm just going to start swinging because now I have 22k columns and I have a 16k Vanguard. What are you going to do to me? Because your interceptor is locked and now I have the advantage. And pretty much when you see this type of stuff happen right now, it looks pretty damn tough. Because when your opponent says, can I check your drop zone, he is immediately in a bad position, and you should feel kind of comfortable, but not too comfortable, because this is the Vanguard Casino, after all. And now he's going to be doing some mega math, because he has a perfect guard, he has 10k shields, but he's probably not going to have enough to guard everything. So he's just like, I'm going to wait, I'm going to do something, I'm going to try my best with this. Seeing, I think, it's like 5k and few 10k shields off of that. Off of the move that he had to call out, I guess I should just drop a 15k shield and then hopefully just perfect guard the rest if he should choose to just get another trigger out of it. So seeing no trigger on 1 and no trigger on 2. So that means the attack on the Vanguard did not go through, but he's still swinging for 22k. So of course, gonna perfect guard that second attack, and then he's going to block barely the 15k shield just to get through. And now Alex has the chance of a lifetime to try and make a comeback. And what does he do? Well, he's going to Legion yet again. He tops decks the grade 3 Legion and ends up going in for one last call, putting back as many triggers as he can, seeing 2 heals, and I guess it was like a crit and I think a perfect guard? Oh no. Double crit, double heal. I was still like remembering this moment because now everybody got super hyped because this was the last thing that I remember that everybody was screaming about. The locals, at least the people that were around this match, people were getting so hyped because now it's like, now I gotta deal with not only retiring 2 of my units, but now I have to deal with crits and heals that may appear for a second time. Because, dear God, Alex had, I think, 2 or 3 turns where he literally had double triggers on every twin drive. And despite having his units locked, he still tried to fish out as many cards from Henry as possible. So, now Henry's going to retire. I was like, nope, I'm not getting rid of my reverse units. I'm going to get rid of my boosters. There's no problem with me, man. So, he's going to be going, oh, wow. He's going to just show off his hand and just show, alright, I'm going to show you that's just going to be a no pass, because that's a 41k shield to a 28k Vanguard. So, not much there, but he did get the crit trigger, so he's going to try 21, but Henry's just putting down that 15k block. So you get to see the relock again, and it's going to say, alright, now it's time to end this game once and for all. So I'm going to just call out as much stuff as I can. Despite his deck being less than 10 cards, he is in full control of what he can do. Because now not only is he going to lock with the remaining verse unit that he has an Omega Lock to make sure, just in case if he sacks another heal trigger, Alex only has 2 cards in his hand. So he's going to be taking at least 2 hits, so it has to bank on 2 heal triggers. So we're going to see what's going to happen now. He has 3 cards in his hand left. And going through the triggers, I think there's only 1 or 2 triggers left. So you're going to see Glendios, and he's going to get a crit trigger off of it. So go and see it. Oh, that's 6 damage. So that's it for the match. We get to see Omega Glendios cement his place at the top with the first wave of the legions, but we're going to see what happens in the future. So that's it for the match. My name is AlphonZeus. I hope that you've enjoyed it, and we'll see you guys next time. Take care.